What's up, Voyagers? Unsung here, and in today's episode, we're going to be going over some of the other deeds that we've been purchasing over the last few months. And, for those that know, right now there's a big NFT bear market that's going to include the other side and really all of Yuga's assets. But potentially, this is the time to be buying when no one else is. Time will tell, but let's go over some of the tools that we're using and also some of the deeds that we've been purchasing during this bear market. So, first, by and large, the best way to shop for other deeds, in my opinion, is going to be through the Otherside Wiki website. This is a community-made website that does a really good job aggregating all the marketplaces and making it really easy to find the deed that you're looking for. So this is going to be the homepage of the Otherside Wiki, and you're going to see they have all the previous recently sold deeds here. They're going to have really good kind of just data up here on the upper right, but also right over here, just links to whatever you might be looking for. So you have other deeds, you have codas, you have vessels, and then you also have the heavy metal forge. So for us, we're sticking around the other deeds because I think by and large, that's where the best opportunities are because there's so many different ways to evaluate a deed. And so there's more tendency to have price discovery and discrepancies that you might be able to take advantage of. So we'll click over here. And as you see here, it does a really nice job. It aggregates all of the deeds that are listed for sale from, Blur, OpenSea, Looks Rare, and makes it convenient so that you can see all of it in one interface. Right now, it's going to be listed from low to high, but you have this little toggle here where you can click like fair value, undervalued, or listed new to old. So let's kind of click here. And you'll see here, this is all the deeds that were recently listed. This is a nice thing to do, especially when you're just casually browsing as a buyer, because every now and then you'll find some killer deals. And I'll be going over a few that we found doing this and why we purchased them. Also here on the left-hand side, you're going to have ways to filter. So you can, filter environment size, sediment type, and tier, and artifacts. If this verbiage is foreign to you, watch our previous video, which we'll tag below. That video, we do a nice job overviewing, all these kind of different attributes and what they mean so that you can get a better baseline if you need it. So here, let's kind of take a look. So let's go over our first recent purchase here. So here, this is actually a deed that we just purchased a couple minutes ago. And why did we purchase it? So right now the floor is about 0.35, and you can see we purchased this deed for 0.5. So really on this deed, when we're evaluating it, the big value driver for this one is Celestial Orb. This is an artifact that's limited to 525 artifacts. And, right now, really, it's just speculation. It's speculation that these artifacts will be rare and scarce and that they'll be valuable in gameplay, either on Legends of the Mara, but also most definitely on the other side. And as far as what this may do, that's anyone's guess. But hey, I do want to own as many of these OG artifacts as I can. And for 0.15 ETH, I think that's fairly fair. And also here, this is not a big driver for the value for me here, but it happens to be a sediment tier 3 and also environment tier 3, where potentially this would be a good deed to place 3 Mara farmers on to farm infinite expanse sediment fragments. And also you can put 3 of them on there. So for those that have smaller collections, this actually might serve as a farming deed as well for you. Next, let's kind of hop on to another deed that we purchased here. And this is one where, we just bought a week or so ago. And, I really like it for the resources. There's going to be 74 total resources that are possible to populate deeds. And 60 of them are going to be considered your rare resources. So here it does a really nice job of telling you this is 46 out of 74 rarity. And, this one has a 3-tier Corellia and Corellia and a 1-tier. And so on this one deed, 2 of the potential resource sockets actually has a rare resource. And this is what gets me really excited. And I think many will agree that resources are the play for Otherdeeds because we know that resources will be regenerating. So as you harvest them in the future, they will regenerate and allow you to really have resource yield as long as the game is live. And so if the game is successful, these rare resources will be indeed very rare and hopefully very valuable as well. And so here you can see this is the fair value using the Otherside Wiki's internal formula. It's pretty good, but at times I find that it's way off too. So don't base your purchase simply off, what might be listed and the, potential fair value. You really need to get a sense of if that's correct or not. But you can kind of click on it, and you'll see how they value it. For example, they gave a 0.89 ETH to the 3-tier rare resource here, and then a 0.59 value for the tier 1. This might be accurate. It's hard to say. It really depends on how much resource yield a tier 3 provides in relation to a 1. If a tier 3 provides 3x the amount of a 1, then really this should be 3 times the value of this. We don't know. And so maybe it's only 50% more. And so only time will tell, exactly what the mechanics are. And we have not been given that information as of today, July 29th, 2023. But this is a pickup we did last week. I like it. I think anytime I can get multiple rare resources, which is 60 or below on ranking, I try my best to pick them up. So let's kind of go to the next one here. So this one is, I think there's different ways to play it, right? So we have rare resources is one way to be buying deeds and looking for it. The other is artifacts. And so this artifact is going to be a forged shovel. As you can see, there's 450 of them. And this would be considered like a tool artifact. There's really 3 tiers of tool artifacts right now. There's Coda tools, there's forged tools, and there's rugged tools. So this is that middle category. But once again, here it was about, let's call it double plus the floor here. But I just think that if, resources are potentially the play, then anything that helps you improve your resource yield, which could be artifact tools, this is going to be highly valuable, right? People are going to want to be able to mine or harvest their resources most effectively, and they'll need artifact tools to do that. And so this was a recent pickup as well. And, right now, just 4 or 5 months ago, this would be selling for 3x what this is now. And so, hey, it's down, 70% or so. So hopefully it's a good purchase now, as long as the other side succeeds, which I'm really bullish on, obviously. So let's take a look at the next one here. So this is here, we're going to be getting into the grails now. So this is what I would consider a grail deed, and one that gets me really excited. This particular deed, I reached out to the seller and we were able to find a mutual price on it. And here we have one that's an unknown map, 1 of 60. What does it know? What does it do? It's unknown. I have no clue, but I do know that it's going to be always rare. You're not going to be able to make unknown maps in the game once it's live, and this will have a really unique utility that hopefully is valuable down the line and special. As much as speculation of price going up, honestly, I picked this up because I just want to own one to play the game and to have something that's really special within the ecosystem. And so, here, the cool thing here on Otherside Wiki, you can click on it and you can see, all the owners of it. So you can see, for example, Yuga Labs owns 12 of the 60. Animoca Brands owns 3. So really 15 of them are out of circulation, if you will. And here you can see all the different holders that happen to own one. You can see here all the last sales. So this was actually the most recent purchase. There was no other purchase, so these aren't very liquid for 4 months, but you can see it was about double the price. And then here you can see current listings. So there's actually one for 9.9, and then it quickly jumps up to 15.69. So this is a really cool feature, and one of the best ways to get good deals is because of how illiquid these happen to be. For example, you can click here and you can click the owned by, and sometimes you can find through Discord or Twitter who happens to own this wallet, and you can talk to them directly and you can do a private sale. Just be really careful if you do a private sale, you know what you're doing. There's a ton of scammers out there that's going to try to scam you out of your hard-earned ETH by giving you fake malicious links. So if you do not OTC, I'm sorry, private seller, make sure you know what you're doing before you do it, and don't click on any links, do your research, be familiar with it first, because you're likely to get scammed and really hurt if you're not sure what you're doing. So be careful if you go that route. And then here, let's see, we're going to kind of go on to, I would consider this another grail here. This deed here, when we kind of evaluate it, you have a amber skull. And as you can see here, it's the 18 out of 74th rarest resource. And it's a 3-tier, which makes this really, a large part of the value of this deed. But another component here, you do have some extra utility and value through these other resources. As you can see, if any of the rank is above 60, like here 64 and 71, these are considered the common resources. These resources has over 11,000 units of them. And, those are probably going to be your basic building blocks, what we're all going to be using to build, basic resources and whatnot on the other side. So there's still definitely utility behind it because this will be traded, for all those people who are actively building in the game. But it's important to know that they're not nearly as valuable as the Amber Skull that only has 278 quantity. So this is really important to look at, where you see, you'll see some people say, hey, there's 4, patches of resources. Well, the value, if they're 4 rare resources, well, that's really valuable. If they happen to be 4 of these, it's nice to have. There's some value there, but make sure to just realize that this is considerably more common than these really rare resources. Here, also a lot of the value here on this deed is going to be the biogenic swamp. This is a tier 3 biogenic swamp, meaning that once Legends of the Mara game comes out, we know that our farmer Mara will be able to farm at the highest efficiency, 3 fragment resources. And so, per farmer farming this land, they're going to be able to generate the best yield. So you're going to need less farmers farming to get more, biogenic swamp fragments. And this also happens to be a tier 4, right? And so, what does this mean for Legends of the Mara? It's going to mean that you're going to have up to 4 workers, either the fighters or the farmers. I'm going to be using this deed to farming it. So not only can they have 4 farmers on there, they're also farming at an efficiency of 3. And so this just makes this deed so much more valuable here. And then last tier, second to last, I should say, we have this deed. This deed is a really cool one that we've purchased just recently as well. And it happens to be a 1 of 60. And it's going to be your rare artifacts. And for me right now, I think rare artifacts are really undervalued in the sense of how scarce they are, because we have no clue what the utility is. And so, with that uncertainty, there's definitely a lot of fear, potentially rightfully so. But, we're able to pick this up for 4.8, which I think is pretty much as low as they've been sold for. So, you can click here and take a look here. And so you can see, this one, I don't know how someone else got 2 ETH over here. But, you can see someone paid 24 for this one, which I believe had a coda on it as well. But usually this has been going on for around, let's call it 8 to 9 ETH. And so 4.8 feels like a really good price that I was willing to pull the trigger on. And, last one that we're going to end on here is truly the grail of grails for me. This is going to be by far my most special deed. And this is one that I happened to just pick up, searching through newest listings one night. And I think it was only on the market for 15 minutes or so. And, being so active in this space and always watching, this was an instant buy for me, where I was scrambling to click as fast as I could to lock this one in. And the reason why this one's so special, you'll see here, they have a grail score here where they score the rarity of the deeds based off of environment and tier, sediment tier, resources. And this one, they have it ranked as 29. I don't know if that's correct or not, But for me, it's my best deed, and the reason for that, it happens to have a dimensional resource, which is the rarest ranking. You'll see it's the 1 out of 74. So there's only 152 of these in the whole Otherside ecosystem, and that happens to be tier 2. But it also has a Galactica tier 3, which is the 173rd rarest of all of it. Which has 173 units, and is the 4th rarest of all the deeds. And just kind of, icing on the cake, it has an ancient coin, which is a nice to have, but not nearly where the value of this deed happens to be. Once again, you can click over here and you'll see that, fair value, and this is debatable, of course. They have, dimensionals worth 15.9 ETH, Galactica 7.4, but you can see, we picked it up at 8 ETH about a month ago. If you click over here, you can even see, let's kind of do here. You can see here, Galactic dimensional. You'll see, just recently someone bought a dimensional tier 3 for 16.5 ETH. And so while these are really illiquid, when there is motivated buyers, they're willing to pay a lot because the sellers are diamond handing these, because those that own it know that it's incredibly rare, and hopefully down the line it's going to have awesome utility. The things that we know for resources, right? We're going to be able to build with resources. We know they're renewable, so that once you harvest these after X amount of time, we're going to be able to reharvest them again. But also that rare resources can be used to imbue items that will provide different kind of modifiers that are dependent on the rarities. So that's kind of all we know so far. But for those who are excited for the other side, these are the grails. I hope this video was helpful for those that are buying, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side.